here's back to showcase view. Rotate this around. I even think this old fella, who actually looks a lot like me, is fairly well modeled. Get a little bit closer look at some of the items in the ship. Very well detailed, I think. And the nice thing too, when you're in a boat and in Microsoft Flight Simulator, when you get to where you're going and you dock, you can go into showcase view. In fact, I think what you can do is put it in pause and make sure your boat doesn't drift away. There is no anchoring function at the time being. I don't think we're able to anchor and keep the boat still. I've had pretty good luck though, once I stopped the boat where it just kind of hung there, but it may drift a little one way or the other. But what you can do, I hadn't tried this yet, but I think what you can do is put the game in pause and then go to showcase view, and then you can go look around. I'd have to try that and see what happens. And I don't want to go and pause and bring up like the menu screen, which if you hit escape, that's what it does. So, is there a keyboard pause? Anyway. Absolutely beautiful, this boat. If you wanted an old style boat to tinker around with, you can do it. It feels good. It doesn't sound right with the motor, and that's why I went into the game files and found the wave file. There's actually a couple files for sound for when you're in the show external view, and there's a couple of files for when you're in the cockpit view. So you have to change all of them out. So you need to change all of those files out to get a sound file if you want to get rid of the motor sound. But, you have to have a little knowledge about that stuff. And I know enough to do it, and that's about as much as I know. A couple of years ago, when I first started putting some freeware out, I was going into configuration files and trying everything I could to figure things out. And was actually able to take some boats that were freeware boats that they would work, but they were really strange behaving as far as moving along the water and jittering and now, for example, right now we see that the whale is jittering. Well, that's because I'm using a flight yoke. I noticed that if I don't use a flight yoke and I use either the keyboard or I use some other means like an Xbox controller, you don't get that jitter. You get a nice smoothness on the wheel. But the flight yoke would, as I'm rocking it back and forth now, it works too. And I don't know, I like the flight yoke for steering. But I'm very much enjoying this leisurely sail from one island to another. In the Caribbean islands, I thought maybe I'd do this in the Caribbean islands, but I decided I wanted to show off the lighthouse that's, off of the island that's just west of Fort Jefferson. Fort Jefferson also has a little lighthouse to it. It's a tourist spot. The only way you can get to it is through by boat or plane, you know, because it's an island and there's no road out to it. The road goes as far as Key West. So if you're traveling to Florida and you go into the Keys, you can travel all through the Keys up to Key West, and then after that, any key beyond that, including Fort Jefferson, there's no way to drive out to it. You have to drive by boat or by plane. But it is a tourist spot. People do go out there. And I don't remember if it's 90 miles off of Key West or 60 miles. So it's a good ways to get out here. But the Caribbean islands, one of the videos I did a year or so ago was having a trimaran. Trimaran? No, it was a catamaran going through the Caribbean islands. And I've had this boat in the Caribbean islands. It's fantastic, you know, because once you get away from the Florida Keys, and even the Bahamas are kind of flat, but once you get south of there, Cuba and a whole stretch of islands, you know, the Virgin Islands and all of the islands that go all the way down to South America, those islands have mountains on them, so they're beautiful. And they stand out of the water, and this boat would be perfect for sailing around. I've done quite a bit of that in the last day or so, taking this boat out through those islands. And I love the water. You set it up around 12 knots, whatever I think I have it set on right now, and you get the nice white caps and a little bit of rolling water, and it looks nice. The boat steers well. It looks beautiful in every way. You got the wake. I know the developer keeps talking about how he liked the wake to be better, but this is about how good the wake is on the seaplanes. You know, I would like the wake on the seaplane to be better, and so I'm quite happy with it. I mean, this is the best that the platform is offering us. So it's not really the airplane developer or the seaplane developer or the boat developer that has, you know, control over the final outcome. To have influence, you can do a good job with this or not. I think he's done a nice job with it. And I'm strictly talking about the wave. But the feel of the boat is nice. So we're coming up on the fort now. What time of day is it? About 7 p.m. in the evening. But I love the cockpit view. Now, the only thing is, it's not, this being a wooden ship, it's not a cockpit like other payware and Marine RM's other payware does have a cockpit where you have all the panels. And they're working panels where we can use the GPS. But I like the way, you know, this is here. Because you can always come and grab a hold of your map. And look at this map. And even one of the things I didn't mention that was a criticism is the map was a little airplane. Well, I don't know how he did it, but it's a little boat now. And I did notice sometimes when I bring it up, I don't see the boat. And I don't know if that's a developer's issue or if it's a Microsoft issue. But, I mean, you could just minimize it like that, keep it up on the screen. But, you know, that's kind of neat how you can use the map and it has a little boat to it. Especially if you're navigating rivers and bridges and things. Here's the fort. I think I want to go around the other side of the fort. go ahead and steer around it here. Of course, there's a few modern boats here that kind of break the break the feel of being in an old ship in an old fort. That's all right. Still very enjoyable scenic excursion. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little excursion. An old-time sailing vessel, the Cutter. Available for a few dollars out there in payware. I think it's actually on a couple different add-on websites. I know at least two of them where it's available. I think one is flightsimto.to. I think that's where I got it, and it's also on Sim Market, if I'm not mistaken. And possibly if you go to Marine RM's own website, I think he may have it available there too. But beautiful. Very nice boat to be sailing around the tropics in the Caribbean, without a doubt. I'm going to go ahead and do external view for bringing this thing up to dock. A good way to approach a dock is like on a 45-degree angle. Slow yourself down, and then you can kick the stern. If you have motors in real life, this is kind of pretty easy to do. I got kicked back a little bit. So I'm using that Logitech Quad, and I got it set where when you go past the throttle, when it gets to that notch, and there's a little space there, you can click beyond the notch, you can put it in reverse. See, I'm going through the dock. So these are some of the issues we now have with boats and collision and all that stuff. Also, I get that notification. It thinks I'm an airplane that's been beached. And I guess I am. It just keeps wanting to pull the bow in. So we're going to just dock it there. And then from there, go to showcase. Let's get off the boat and look around. Fort Jefferson. There's the lighthouse. It went right through the dock, and it's still coming. Yeah, so that's one of the issues, and I wanted to show you the good and the bad, because you're interested in what's in Fort Jefferson. Looks like there's an old cannon here, but it's not textured. Kind of the plasticky look. There we go, we got the lighthouse going. Look at that, the boat, it went right in, straight into the boathouse. Didn't really expect it to do that. But this is something that the developer said he was going to be working on, is trying to, as soon as it's possible, to anchor a boat, to get it anchored. Gotta go back to the top. I was trying to figure out how to get this notification tip off. There's a guy on my boat. Who invited him on? Yeah, I'm backing up. So technically there's no reverse throttle with the boats right now, but you see that I'm doing it. I'm just using the for airplanes, there's the pushback, and so I'm just using the command for pushback as my reverse on boats, and it works perfectly fine. And so whenever I take the throttle all the way down and go past the notch, it's in pushback mode. Sorry. So I hope you enjoyed that little excursion with me, and even if you're not into boats, but maybe you were curious about what's going on and other aspects of Microsoft Flight Simulator. Well, until next time, thanks for coming along, and I don't know what to say. I mean, I don't post every week or anything of that sort, and that's why I'm not. I just enjoy posting whatever's on my mind, and different games, simulations, sometimes aquariums, trains, all the different hobbies I have. So I'm always happy to share them with you. All right, have a good one.